Good afternoon to the both of you. We are very honored to have both of y'all here today. This debate we will be taking questions from a few senior citizens in the Academy. Our first question will be coming for Senior Trevor Lucas.
In my government class, we learned about the federal deficit and how we are inheriting it at $16 billion and rising. My question for you is, how are you going to go about reducing the federal deficit, and are you for the idea of reducing the deficit without raising taxes?
Okay, President Obama, we're going to have your response to that question.
Now, I have put forward a specific $4 trillion deficit reduction plan. And the way we do it is by asking those of us who have done very well in this country to contribute just a little bit more to reduce the deficit. Now, there has to be revenue in addition to cuts, and if we are serious, we've got to take a balanced, responsible approach. Thank you.
Governor Romney, we're going to have your thoughts on that.
Now, I think it's, frankly, just not moral for my generation to keep spending massively more than we take in, knowing these burdens are going to be passed on to the next generation. So how do we deal with it? Mathematically, there are 3 ways that you can cut the deficit. 1, raise taxes. 2, cut spending. And 3, grow the economy. Because if more people work in a growing economy, they're paying taxes, and you can get the job done that way. Thank you.
Our next question is coming from Senior Kayla Scott.
As a new voter this year, how should I be required to present voter ID when I vote?
Governor Romney, we're going to have your response first.
Now, the idea is that people should be able to be identified as they vote so that we can know that they are not voted multiple times. You can get a photo ID free from your state. You can get it at the time that you register to vote. So I'm definitely in favor of a photo ID to vote. Thank you.
President Obama, we're going to have your thoughts now.
No, I'm not in favor of the photo identification to vote. I don't understand how in a democracy why we want to suppress the vote. Now, we should want as many people as possible to vote. The Republicans want to make it more difficult for the poor and the elderly to vote. There has been no substantiated evidence of any significant incident of fraud due to voter impersonation. Thank you.
Our third question is coming from Senior Lauren Griffin.
In the wake of the shootings this past summer in Colorado, do you feel more federal regulation on guns and ammunition are needed?
President Obama, we're going to have your response first.
All right. We lose the same number of young people to guns every day and a half as we did at Columbine, and every 4 days as we did at Virginia Tech. Every single day, America is robbed of more futures. It has awful consequences for our society, and as a society, we have a responsibility to do everything we can to put a stop to it. I believe there is room for us to have reasonable laws that uphold liberty, ensure citizen safety, and are fully compatible with the Second Amendment. The question that we need to ask ourselves is, should the average citizen have access to an AK-47? Thank you.
Governor Romney, we're going to have your thoughts now.
Now, I believe that we need to focus on enforcing our current laws rather than creating new laws that just burden lawful gun owners. I believe in safe and responsible gun ownership, and that anyone who exercises the right to keep and bear arms must do so lawfully and properly. I do not believe in a one-size-fits-all federal approach to gun ownership, because people keep and use firearms for different reasons. Law-abiding citizens have a right to protect their homes and their families, and as president, I will vigorously defend that right. Thank you.
Our next question is coming from Senior Mary Frances Broadhead.
The death penalty has been a controversial issue in the United States. Do you believe this should stay a legal option?
Governor Romney, you can have your response first.
Now, I have been a consistent supporter and advocate of the death penalty for convicted killers. I saw plans to reinstate the death penalty in Massachusetts whenever I was governor, just related to cases that included terrorism, the assassination of law enforcement officials, and multiple killings. This piece of legislation would have required the presence of scientific evidence such as DNA to sentence someone to death, and a tougher standard of the no doubt of guilt for juries to sentence the offender. Thank you.
President Obama, I don't have your thoughts on that question.
No. While the evidence tells me that the death penalty does little to deter crime, I believe that there are some crimes, such as mass murder and the rape and murder of a child, that are so terrible that the community is justified in expressing the full measure of its outrage by handing out the ultimate punishment. Thank you.
Our next question is coming from Senior Jessica Brewer.
America has been involved in the war for the past 10 years, and the war has been extremely costly, not only monetarily, but also sacrificially. I know from experience how hard it is to have a family member serving overseas. So do you believe the U.S. should use military force if Iran does not dismantle its nuclear program?
President Obama, we're going to have your response on that question first.
As President and Commander-in-Chief, I have a deeply held preference for peace over war. I have sent men and women into harm's way, and I've seen the consequences of those decisions in the eyes of those that I meet who come back gravely wounded, and the absence of those who don't make it home. Long after I leave this office, I will remember those moments as the most searing of my presidency. And for this reason, as part of my solemn obligation to the American people, I will only use force when the time and the circumstances demand it. We all prefer to resolve this issue diplomatically. However, I have said that when it comes to preventing Iran from obtaining a nuclear weapon, I will take no options off the table, and I mean what I say. Thank you.
Governor Romney, you have your thoughts now?
I feel that it's definitely worth putting in place crippling sanctions. It's worth working with the insurgents in the country to encourage regime change in this country. And if all else fails, if after all the work we've done, there's nothing else that we can do, then of course we must take military action. It is unacceptable for Iran to have a nuclear weapon. Thank you.
Our last question is coming from Senior Reagan Neely.
In a recent debate, we heard that over 50% of college graduates cannot get jobs. What will you do to create jobs?
Governor Romney, we're going to have your response first.
Now, under President Obama, America has lost more than 2.5 million jobs. Nearly 25 million Americans are out of work or have just stopped looking for work. As of September 1st, the national debt was an estimated $14.6 trillion. President Obama's plan is just not working. I have a 5-step plan that will create 12 million new jobs. And one of the most important parts of that plan is to champion small businesses. Let me say that again. Champion small businesses. Thank you.
At this time in the debate, we're going to let each presidential candidate have a closing remark. Oh, I'm sorry. President, we're going to take your response on that.
Unlike Governor Romney, who was in favor of letting the auto industry go bankrupt, my job plan is to begin with manufacturing. Our auto bailout over the objections of the Republicans has proven to be a great success. We believe in the American workers, and given the proper tools, they will be successful. When I became president, I was handed the worst economic situation since the Great Depression. Not only have we stopped the growth of unemployment, but the rate is steadily going down. What I need from the American people is a determined resolve to stay the course and let the improvements continue. Thank you.